Hello everyone, today is the fourth video highlighting everything that I got up to in my third week of my career change. Now the biggest thing that I did this week is breaking down every single one of my goals into easy, manageable, daily to-do type steps. The reason I did this is what I found in the first couple of weeks of this transition was I'd wake up every morning with an empty to-do list for the day and have to work out in the morning, okay, so these are my goals and this is where I want to be getting to, so this is where I'm at and this is where I have to go. Kind of a little bit too ad hoc and not very well thought out. So I took a lot of time going through every single one of the goals that I've written down already on the board and other ones that I will be writing down in the future and breaking them down into easy to do steps. An example of this is my goal of identifying 3 industries that I want to pursue and understand more by 31st of July. Now, I broke this down in the following. Firstly, I wrote down about 6 or 7 industries that throughout the last couple of weeks, years, and pretty much my entire life, I've always known I've had some kind of interest in. Point number 2 is identify 5 people within each industry that are either well respected and well established or are on the rise. Point 3, obtain their contact details. Point 4, contact all 5 people within one industry in one go. Point 5 is repeat point 4 for the remaining industries. Now, point 6 I've noted down as BDM the hell out of it. And for anyone within like inside sales role and that kind of experience, they might recognize the term. BDM means business development manager. Now what I mean by that is I'm not expecting these people to reply to me instantly saying, yeah, sure, let's meet for lunch and I'll explain to you X, Y, Z. So it's going to take a level of tenacity that I've fortunately been able to acquire and hone over the last couple of years from my role. So I'm prepared that it's going to take a bit of work. Now in the book, they actually have a name for this. It's called industry interviewing. And there's a whole bunch of extended benefits from doing this. Most notably, you're establishing a network within an industry that you otherwise would not have known. So if you do happen to move into it, you've got a whole bunch of contacts that you can potentially rely on to help provide that platform for success. But also, by speaking to multiple different people within the same industry, you gain a much more rounded opinion of that market. And the second thing I've been focusing on is filling out my career flower. I mentioned it last week, it's this one here. And I've finally completed 2 of the 7 petals that week. My preferred characteristics of people to work with are reliable, maintains positive social group dynamic, honest and trustworthy, inclusive of everyone, hardworking, and high caliber. And my preferred working conditions are spacious, modern working environment with natural light and lots of windows, sunshine for as much of the day as possible. I basically just hate working in England from October to December. Varied routine, and by that I mean different locations, different work hours, etc. Basically anything to keep me on my toes. Unsurprisingly, my final requirement is all to do with food. So it's flexible working hours with lots of choice for food and ability to eat outside when you can. Now, to you, these probably all sound pretty obvious and straightforward and somewhat relatable for just about everyone. But this took me hours to prioritize and work out. So I'd highly recommend doing it yourself if you're in a similar position to me, because you might surprise yourself about what crops up as a high priority and what actually is a lower priority. Now, a few other things that I did in that week that are worth mentioning. I posted my first vlog. Took me 10 hours front to back, but I'm very glad I did it because since then there's been nothing but positive that's come from this. Also, since posting that video, there's actually been a couple of job opportunities that have arisen from that, like consultancy work, a little bit of advisory work here and there. I also bought more cryptocurrency. I went to the design museum with a friend. We hosted a launch party for my housemate's new company he's working for called Etch. They're a new cryptocurrency, so it's cool to meet quite a few of the people that he's working with. We also shot a quick music video in our flat, as well as hosting a quick pre-party for a club in London. So yeah, pretty busy week from a social standpoint as well. Now, there's a couple of things that I learned that week as well. I found that since I left my job, anytime there's any feeling of worry or panic or anything negative like that, I've actually subconsciously suppressed it and ignored it, as opposed to trying to work your way through it. Purely because it makes you much more effective in the short term, because anytime a negative feeling like that comes in, if you actually want to work through it, it's going to take time. That's time that I could have been using working out what I want to do with my life. So I've very much, for the first 3 weeks, I just ignored all of that. And it happened to come all crashing down one evening, and it kind of really got an oh shit moment of what the fuck have I done? And it was really, really hard to handle. But I'm still alive and still making progress, so we're all good. In conjunction with that last point, I also learned that sometimes taking a step out of your own situation and utilizing some of that energy to helping others with some of their own challenges and issues can be quite therapeutic in its own right, because you're both allowing yourself to forget about the situation, whilst also allowing yourself to be a little bit more altruistic and helping others, which ultimately is much more fulfilling anyway. Now, the quote I want to leave you with is actually a company slogan, and I'm sure it's one that you all recognize already. Just do it. Now, the reason I am deciding to use that is I've noticed over the last couple of weeks, there's been a few times where I have agonized over issues and thought, oh, but what if I do that first, or if I do that, or just worrying about an idea or potential problem. Whereas the times where I've just not really worried too much about that and just gone ahead and got going and got things started, so much more productive. I actually wasted an entire Monday a couple of weeks ago just trying to work out what to do with my day. And it got to 2 p.m. and I'd done 0. So the next day I woke up and I just made sure I just did X, Y, Z, and it got to halfway through the day and I'd achieved more than I could have ever dreamed to. So it's the power of just doing it and not worrying. All right, done. And going forward, as soon as I catch up with everything I've been up to, I'm going to be doing these once a week, and trust me, keeping them to less than 5 minutes, I promise. All right, see you later.